The Climate Prediction Center already on board with the idea of days 6 through 10, at least normal temperatures for most of the country, and now look at this below normal temperatures in the week 2 time frame for most of the East Coast. This looks dramatically different than what we've been seeing lately. So here's a look at North America. A lot of the Arctic air really up here, and that's important because that will be moving south, or at least a chunk of it will break off here heading into Tuesday, and then it starts to work south as we head through Wednesday and Thursday. Overall, though, for the United States, we're going to be very mild this week. Temperatures above average, but look, here comes that intrusion of Arctic air. It's going to be felt first across the Central Plains states. I think it's going to push all the way into Texas. I think 20, maybe even 30 degrees below normal in some cases heading into next Friday and Saturday. That moves all the way into the deep south. Now, we may not see freezing temperatures in some of these areas, which is good news because let's face it, the growing season has started in many of these areas. I do think we see freezing temperatures in some places where the growing season may have started a little early, especially further north. And look, it tries to stay cold all the way into next week, sort of reflecting that idea of what the Climate Prediction Center was showing in some of the graphics. Now, let's talk about the short term because there is actually some severe weather. We're going to start on Sunday. This weak system here moving through the Great Lakes will bring some rain showers early through parts of Michigan and then eventually working into parts of New York, Pennsylvania. And this first line of storms, and yeah, there could be some thunderstorms embedded here, will move through in the morning hours. Some heavy rain showers possible from central PA up into New York. The big storms start to fire up heading into the afternoon. Places that are seeing snow on Saturday could see severe thunderstorms on Sunday. And as we move into the afternoon, we get some instability here, some wind shear going too, and a couple of these storms could get on the strong side. So by the time we get into Sunday afternoon and evening, we've got storms going from Albany all the way back to Binghamton, now south of Rochester and moving into central Pennsylvania. And I think this area right here would be the highest risk for strong to severe thunderstorms. From College Station now moving south towards Harrisburg, and through the overnight hours, those storms move south. They will start to weaken as we see more stability develop in the overnight hours. With rotation in the atmosphere, this is a look at the supercell index, definitely bumping up here across central Pennsylvania. So it's no wonder that the Storm Prediction Center now has a slight risk of severe thunderstorms. That's a 2 on a scale of 5 for a lot of central Pennsylvania and even a little sliver of Ohio, with a more widespread marginal risk for severe thunderstorms in other areas back through Ohio, even Indiana, New Jersey, and parts of New York. The tornado threat is not a zero threat. You can see that here. So from Columbus over to Pittsburgh, over to Harrisburg, State College, even up towards Scranton, there's going to be some rotation in the atmosphere that I showed you on that supercell index. A few isolated tornadoes possible, but the big tornado threat this week will come the next day, Monday. We're looking into the Central Plains states. So now that we're at day 3, the Storm Prediction Center refining their outlook a little more, and we're starting to see the bullseye take shape here across Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas. That doesn't change my thoughts whatsoever. In fact, they've been pushing this out now for 3-4 days. You were seeing a 30% chance of seeing severe weather pretty much in these same areas from the Storm Prediction Center a couple of days ago. And now as we move into day 4, which would be Tuesday, their outlook changes a little bit. So this does look significantly different, but that storm threat I think will push off to the east. And I would argue maybe even into Wednesday for areas further east as this storm continues to push off to the east. Let's time some of this out and let's talk about that Arctic outbreak that I think is going to happen. And again, I use that cautiously. It's an April Arctic outbreak, and late April at that, arguably. Low pressure will get pretty strong here across the Central Plains states. There's your severe weather. So it looks like heading into Monday afternoon and Monday evening into Tuesday night, things push off to the east. So now we're looking in this area for severe thunderstorms. Heavy rain also possible. And on the backside of it, here comes the cold. And, you know, as we've got high pressure back here, pushing some upslope snow showers out of the mountains. And really, it could just be upslope snow. And it could be heavy at times for parts of the Front Range all the way north up into Wyoming and Montana. And as we see that cold air build in, I don't know that I believe anything really beyond this, but this will be an interesting setup. That cold air just plunging south here. Look at those tightly packed isobars here with a stiff east-northeast breeze here and a lot of upslope flow into Colorado. So we could get a good dump of snow, I think, here along the Front Range. And then that cold air pushes all the way into Texas. Check these temperatures out. Sunday is going to be downright hot in some of these areas. 90s possible from Oklahoma into Kansas, and I would argue maybe even up into Nebraska too. A lot of Texas hot too, but here comes the change. We're going to move forward in time pretty quick. Another warm day on Monday. Tuesday, okay, that will be when our severe threat pushes off to the east, and then that cold air lags a little bit. We'll start to feel that as we head into Thursday. Places across Kansas and Oklahoma that arguably were seeing highs close to 90 may not make it to 50. And that cold air pushes all the way south, now here along the Gulf Coast into the weekend. Freezing temperatures likely up in this area, but look, we've got lows in the 40s and 50s in Texas. And in some of these areas, we may struggle to get out of the 40s. Much different heading into next weekend with those below normal temperatures. Now, with the strong April sun, if we can get that sun, our temperatures will likely pop up into the 50s pretty quickly. So these Arctic air masses do modify much quicker than what you would see in January. So a bit of a break from the cold in the Northeast as we head into Sunday, at least in some areas, but you saw that severe threat across Pennsylvania, so we'll see a bit of a reinforcing shot of some cool air along the northern tier. Across the south, though, temperatures very warm as we head into Monday, too, so we've got a lot of 70s and 80s in many areas, widespread 70s, and those push back to the north and east, too, as we head into Wednesday. And now as we move into Thursday and Friday, here comes the cold. It looks like Saturday morning temperatures below freezing in many areas. Unfortunately, you may be seeing a lot of blossoms out there on your trees. This is not good to see as we head into, what is this, the 21st and 22nd of April. And we're going pretty far out in time, but look at this. Next Tuesday, potentially another hard freeze for interior areas of the Northeast with temperatures in the 20s. But what about the long term? What do things look like heading into May? And I think it's always just like throwing a dart at a dartboard. But I'm seeing a pattern, and I think that has set up over the last couple of weeks. You've probably seen it. It's active. It's these storms that move through, and that's what we're looking at here in the upper levels. I think temperatures will clearly, obviously, warm up. It's going to be May, but look at all of these anomalies that are moving through, these troughs, these decent upper lows that are moving through. We don't see these big ridge patterns setting up that we likely see as we head into late May and June. A stormy pattern heading into May. May's a severe weather month for many areas, and I think that looks like what's on the table for this year, too. And I skipped through this pretty quickly, but look at next weekend. This is the surface map showing the potential for precipitation. Also, you can see that cold air. I mean, I wouldn't believe any of this verbatim, but look, I don't think we're going to see snow across the panhandle of Texas, but the fact that the models are putting that out is very impressive. And I'll tell you what, this piece of energy is going to be interesting to watch as we have this cold air here. Do we see some snow into the Appalachians? Do we see some development? Does something try to get going again? Do we have one last hurrah late April snowstorm? I think it's way too early to tell, but that's an interesting look. Look, guys, I was born in the last week of May in Virginia, and it snowed the day I was born. Kind of ominous, right? The atmosphere was setting the stage for a future meteorologist. All right, thanks for watching the video, guys. If you made it this far, that means you are dedicated. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you've not subscribed, I hope you will. It really helps the channel out. If you want to help me out, that's how you can do it, and I'll see you next time.